Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever felt that little twinge of shame about having way too many interests and, let's be honest, not enough focus, this is for you. We're about to completely flip that script.
So, does this look familiar? That guitar in the corner just gathering dust? The website you started to code but, never finished? Maybe you had a sudden, passionate urge to learn to bake sourdough that lasted about a month. Society has a name for this, right? It's called being a dilettante. And it comes with this really specific kind of shame, that feeling that you just can't pick a lane and stick with it.
And this is the phrase we use to beat ourselves up, isn't it? It's that voice in your head that says you're chaotic, that you just don't have the grit to really specialize and succeed. We hear this and we nod along thinking, yep, that's me. But you're forgetting how the quote actually ends.
There it is, the full original quote. And this just perfectly nails the entire point we're talking about today. That feeling of being scattered, it isn't a defect. It's actually a symptom of a highly adaptive mind. One that's getting ready for a future where being a master of only one thing, well, that's the most dangerous risk you can possibly take.
So let's just dismantle this myth, piece by piece. What if your brain isn't failing to specialize at all? What if it's unconsciously building this incredibly rare and powerful way of thinking? To get it, we have to look at the world that created all this pressure to specialize in the first place.
To really understand that anxiety you feel, we have to look back at the world you were told you were supposed to succeed in, a world that, frankly, is disappearing right before our eyes.
For a long time, the game rewarded what you'd call an I-shaped person. The rules were stable. Experts call it a kind learning environment. Think of it like golf. If you practice your golf swing for 10,000 hours, you're going to get good and you're going to win. The path was crystal clear. Pick one thing, go deep, and just stay there.
But here's the thing, that kind environment, it's gone. You don't live there anymore. Your brain instinctively knows that you're now playing in a wicked environment, where the rules of the game are changing all the time, and what worked yesterday might be totally irrelevant tomorrow.
And this is why it's such a big deal. In a world that changes this fast, the hyper-specialist is incredibly fragile. If their one super deep skill suddenly becomes obsolete because of AI or some big market shift, they're left with nothing. Your instinct to dabble in a bunch of different fields, that's your brain trying to protect you from that exact thing happening.
So let's reframe this whole thing. That chaos in your life, jumping from learning piano to DJing to yoga, it is not a personality flaw. You are actually building something incredibly rare and valuable.
The magic that you're cultivating is a concept from psychology called far transfer. See, specialists get really good at what's called near transfer, solving problems they've seen before with tools they already know. But you're gathering data from completely separate worlds.
Let's break that down a little. The specialist, they refine things. But the polymath, someone with real knowledge in multiple seemingly unrelated areas, they innovate. They can connect dots that no one else even realizes are on the same page. Let me give you a concrete example.
Think about this person. On paper, being a beekeeper and a farmer has absolutely nothing to do with web development. But that experience gave them this deep, intuitive feel for organic systems and growth cycles. So when they sit down to code, they're not just banging out lines, they are cultivating a digital ecosystem. Now that is the power of far transfer.
So here's the big takeaway. You might feel like an imposter because you're not the absolute best at any one thing. But your real value isn't in your depth in a single field, it's in your ability to synthesize, to combine ideas across multiple fields. You are building what we call an M-shaped mind, with multiple pillars of depth, all connected by this amazing bridge of wide-ranging curiosity.
Okay, so understanding all this is a huge relief. I get it. But it doesn't solve that immediate, crushing feeling of burnout. You look over at your specialist friends, and they're climbing the career ladder, and you feel like you're just constantly starting over from scratch.
This is the key question, right? Because if you try to learn data science, write a novel, and start a business all in the same month, you will absolutely burn out. You're trying to build all the pillars of your M at the exact same time, and that's just not how it works.
The strategy that successful polymaths use is called serial mastery. Now, the whole idea is to look at your life in seasons. You focus intensely on one or two things for a period of time. You're not quitting music to learn programming, you're just finishing one season of building before you start the next one. Just imagine how this could play out over a lifetime. Maybe your 20s are all about music and art. Then your 30s are for mastering a technical skill, maybe to pay the bills. But later, those separate pillars, they start to merge. You didn't abandon art, you just let it sit there for a bit, sequentially, until it could be combined into something totally new, like your very own unique video game.
Okay, there is one final idea from evolutionary biology that just perfectly captures why your way of being is so powerful, especially right now. It's this idea that your diverse skill set is actually a profound evolutionary advantage.
The concept is called redundancy. Now, in nature, redundancy isn't seen as wasteful, it's a critical strength. It's basically a backup system that makes sure you survive when things go wrong. And here's an incredible example. Elephants almost never get cancer. Why? Because they have multiple copies of the exact same cancer-fighting gene. So if one copy fails or mutates, there's another one right there to take its place. This genetic redundancy makes them incredibly resilient.
Your scattered interests? That's your personal redundancy. Think about it. If you're only a software engineer and AI automates your job, you're terrified. But if you're a software engineer who also knows how to fix an air conditioner, can teach English, and understands marketing, you are unbreakable. You always have a pivot ready to go.
So please, stop apologizing for that graveyard of hobbies. Those weren't failures. You weren't just dabbling. You were practicing strategic adaptability. You were building a safety net of skills. They were semesters in a unique university that you designed all for yourself.
You were never meant to be just one thing. You were built to be the bridge, the connection between worlds that other people can't even see. So the final question isn't what should I specialize in, it's what new and interesting worlds will you connect?